"Sir, don't dare me." The words echoed in the small, bustling cafe as Isabella, a fearless young waitress with dark curls and a glare that could pierce steel, squared up to the man who had just entered. He was impossibly handsome, with sharp features and an air of arrogance that seemed to fill the entire room. His tailored suit screamed wealth, and the subtle sparkle of his Italian gold watch hinted at unimaginable riches. "I don't take orders from anyone," he said in a smooth, deep voice, his accent deliciously Italian. Isabella crossed her arms, refusing to be intimidated. "And I don't serve people who think they can boss me around," she snapped back. The cafe fell silent for a moment, the other patrons sensing the tension between these two strong personalities. Everyone knew the billionaire's reputation. He got whatever he wanted, and people either feared him or fawned over him. But Isabella wasn't like everyone else. She didn't bow, she didn't cringe, she didn't care about his money. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued rather than angered. "Bold," he murmured, and for some reason, that word didn't offend her, it amused her. The air crackled like a storm about to break, each refusing to retreat. Part 2. Isabella went back to her station, refusing to let him see that his gaze had unsettled her for even a second. She heard his footsteps approach again, soft but deliberate. "I like a woman who stands her ground," he said, leaning casually against the counter. He wasn't threatening. He was observing, testing. Isabella wiped her hands on her apron and stared directly at him. "Standing my ground doesn't mean I serve you," she said firmly. "You might be rich, but I don't work for fear or flattery." A flicker of admiration crossed his face. Most people crumbled when faced with his charm, but she was like a wall of fire, unmovable, and somehow, fascinating. He smirked. "Then tell me, Isabella, how do you handle challenges?" "I face them head on," she replied without hesitation, her eyes daring him to push further. He studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly, as if weighing a secret decision in his mind. He finally said, "Very well. I accept your defiance. But don't think this will be easy for you." He turned and moved toward a table by the window, his presence filling the room. Isabella followed at a distance, her curiosity piqued despite herself. Part 3. Over the next hour, Isabella noticed him watching everyone, assessing the cafe, noting every detail with an intensity that bordered on obsession. When he finally called her over, she approached cautiously but confidently. "I want something special," he said, not in a demanding tone but almost like a challenge. "Impress me." Isabella raised an eyebrow. "Impressing you won't get you my best service," she said, her tone playful yet firm. "But I can make your coffee the way it should be." He laughed, a rich, deep sound that made her pulse quicken despite herself. "Good. Then show me." She moved to the espresso machine, her hands steady, her movements precise and almost hypnotic. He watched every motion, and for the first time, Isabella saw a different side of him. Not the billionaire, not the arrogant man, but someone who appreciated skill, artistry, and fire. When she finally handed him the cup, he took it, inhaled the aroma, and took a slow sip. His eyes widened slightly, and for a moment, he was silent. "Extraordinary," he said softly. Isabella smiled triumphantly. She had won a small victory, but something in the way he looked at her hinted that this was only the beginning of a far more dangerous game. Part 4. Days turned into weeks, and the billionaire, Alessandro, began visiting the cafe more often. Each visit was a test, a challenge, and Isabella met each one with unwavering courage. She discovered that he was unpredictable, sometimes charming, sometimes frustratingly arrogant, but always fascinating. Despite herself, she found her mind drifting to him when she wasn't at work, wondering what he was thinking, what motivated him, and whether beneath that polished exterior was a man capable of vulnerability. One rainy evening, he appeared in the cafe drenched from the storm outside, his usually perfect hair plastered to his head. Isabella handed him a towel without a word, and he regarded her with something softer, something almost vulnerable. "You always know what people need," he said quietly. "Not because I'm rich or because I demand it, but because I see things others ignore." Isabella met his gaze steadily. "People who dare me get the truth," she said. He chuckled, shaking his head. "And I do dare you, Isabella. Every day." That confession, spoken so simply, made her heart skip. She realized that beneath the veneer of wealth and arrogance, he sought something real, someone unafraid of him, someone who could match his fire. Part 5. Then came the day that changed everything. The cafe was unusually crowded, and Isabella was moving at lightning speed, serving orders, calming arguments, and managing chaos with practiced ease. Suddenly, a man in a dark suit appeared at the entrance, clearly looking for Alessandro. Tension shot through the air. Isabella noticed immediately and instinctively moved between them. "You don't scare me," she said firmly to the stranger, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. Alessandro appeared behind her, calm but alert. "Isabella, step back," he said quietly, but she didn't. She faced the man fully, unwavering. The man's eyes flicked with surprise, perhaps admiration, before he realized he had underestimated her. With a subtle gesture, Alessandro disarmed the situation effortlessly, yet his glance toward Isabella was telling. He trusted her judgment, her courage, her instinct. That night, after the danger had passed, Alessandro stayed behind while the cafe emptied. He sat across from Isabella, his hands clasped, his usually confident demeanor softened. "You saved me," he said simply. Isabella shook her head. "I wasn't saving you, I was proving a point. Don't ever underestimate me." He smiled, a rare, genuine smile, one that made the room feel warmer than the richest chandelier ever could. "Then you've proven it," he said. "And I've learned something too. Sometimes, the bravest people are the ones who think they're serving others, but in reality, they're serving themselves." Part 6. From that night on, things between Isabella and Alessandro changed subtly. He was no longer just a mysterious billionaire testing her limits. He became someone she could understand, someone who respected her independence, someone who made her laugh even when her world was chaotic. Isabella, in turn, began to see beyond the layers of wealth, arrogance, and polish to the man underneath. The man who dared to challenge life, who took risks, and who was unafraid to face fear because he trusted the people brave enough to stand beside him. Their connection was electric, undeniable, and complicated, yet neither rushed it. It was a dance of fire and steel, respect and curiosity, danger and fascination. Eventually, Isabella realized that, "Sir, don't dare me," had become more than a defiant statement. It had become a warning, a promise, and perhaps the beginning of a story neither of them expected but both were ready to live.